Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and since it's Women's History Month, I'm here today to talk to you about Marvel Rising Initiation and Chasing Ghosts. So, I've never really talked about Marvel Rising before. I briefly talked about it when I talked about that Squirrel Girl on-air pilot and stuff, and what introduced me to Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, and that Squirrel Girl and everything. But I never really went into it. Now, this is a series I watched. I don't know if I watched every episode, but I watched a couple. Um, I've always looked at this as kind of like female Avengers and everything, because it was mostly all that of a female group with only two guys in it and stuff. And you rarely see anything like that. And I remember how I forgot how I got into this. Somehow, cause see, here's a strange thing. Now, I'm not gonna go too deep and explain everything that happened in these two episodes. They're two episodes that are 20 minutes each. Because it's on YouTube, you can watch it yourself, and it's also on Disney Plus, and you can watch it there. So there's really no point in me going scene by scene of like what happened, because you can basically watch it yourself, and everybody can watch it on YouTube. It's on the Marvel HQ type thing, or a headquarters, or whatever it's called. And so, like, I think somewhere I was either watching something on TV or I was on YouTube, and like a trailer came forward, something like that, and I saw Spider-Gwen. I'm all like, oh wow, she looks really cool. I didn't really so much know like who she was. I don't know if Into the Spider-Verse had came out at that time or not. And so, like, I remember when I saw it, maybe Into the Spider-Verse probably came first. I don't really remember. But all I remember is seeing Spider-Gwen, thinking, oh yeah, she's like pretty cool and stuff like that, and she's like a spider person, so heck yeah, I'm gonna watch and everything. Because I had gave up on Marvel animation at that time, because that's when Avengers Assemble came out, and I wasn't particularly keen on that. And also I hated the animation in the last couple of seasons and stuff. And sadly, Marvel Rising has that same type of animation. It's okay looking, like the body designs are okay. It's just the backgrounds are very flat looking, very colorful, and there's no rendering whatsoever on anything. So everything looks flat, and I don't understand there's no rendering stuff. Like, I know it's in other cartoons, like silly, goofy cartoons, but normally when it's a superhero cartoon, there's some kind of shading somewhere, especially in the superheroes, because they have muscles and stuff. So I don't get this process of them not rendering stuff. And it's something that's been happening in Marvel animation a lot and stuff, and I just don't understand it. They're going that cheap route, and it looks like flash animation, so they're just going that very, very, very cheap route. And as we know what's going on with the VFX team, that does not surprise me. Now, I will be doing a rundown review of like the Marvel Rising, everything about it, because I don't feel like talking about every episode, because for the most part I don't like every episode. I just like the ones where Spider-Gwen, or Ghost Spider as they call her in this, are like the main focus and stuff, because I just love Spider-Man type stuff, And also, I think some of them I didn't like. I'm now watching The Secret Warriors just now, so I'm like, okay, this explains how everything happened and stuff. So I'll do the rundown view on that later. So, but yeah, and but I'll just like get into this for now. And so, like, Spider-Gwen is a very interesting character, because Gwen Stacy, she died and was dead for many decades in the comics and never came back in the main continuity comic books, because the Green Goblin killed her and stuff. Well, actually, she fell off the bridge and Spider-Man tried to save her, and they don't know if the fall killed her, the web line killed her, did she snap her neck, what is it? Nobody really truly knows and stuff like that. But it's one of his greatest like failures in life, and it was one of the biggest comic books of all time at that time. So they just kept her dead for many years, only for some idiot to retcon stuff and say she had an affair on Peter with Norman Osborn, old behind, and had 2 kids in secret. And it's kind of like, dude, why would you ruin that character for? But then, of course, she was brought back in other comic books like Ultimate Spider-Man, and she had much different personality then too. And then they brought her around in other comics, and they decided, hey, let's give her spider powers. Why not? And everything. And so in Marvel Rising, she's basically a Peter Parker Spider-Man like ripoff. Like her personality, her joking personality is very much like his. They do that with a lot of Spider people, especially in Ultimate Spider-Man, the cartoon, where everybody just seems to have a personality that's comedic, like Peter's and stuff. And so she's very jokey in this show. And she's a teenager, and she's having like the weight of the world on her shoulders. She has to deal with being a superhero and has to deal with having a secret identity and everything, which makes for good storytelling. But it's pretty much identical to that of Peter Parker. Only difference is she's not a nerd in this one. In the past, she's always kind of been presented as a good girl, goody two-shoes nerd. And in this, she's not. She's actually in a band. She is the drummer. Drummers never get no respect, boys. Remember Hanson? Every girl wanted the two boys and everything because one was a singer and one played on the guitar, but nobody wanted the little dude who was like a drummer and stuff. And so, like, drummers just get no respect. Now, her appearance is slightly different in this. Her hair has pink streaks in it. Why? Because the Suicide Squad had came out, the live action one, and Harley Quinn was a hot commodity at that time. And she had like different color streaks in her blonde hair. So they added them here in this. And I like those pink streaks. They're pretty nice, if I do have to say so myself. Now, when this came out, like I said before, this was the first one I ever saw, so I wasn't really sure what the world was going on, and I didn't know why they kept calling her Ghost Spider. Maybe Into the Spider-Verse probably did come out before this. I don't know. But I was confused as to why they called her Ghost Spider. And so, like, they tweaked her origin, too. Mainly because Spider-Man... okay, because see, the thing about all these Marvel cartoons around this time, they all connected to one another. So Spider-Man has already been established in both like his Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon and like the Avengers Assemble he appeared in. So if this is a continuation of Avengers Assemble, which it probably is, probably not, they probably didn't want too much confusion. So they changed her origin just a little bit. And there was something else I was going to say, but no, I remember. So this was the first one I saw, and when this came out, they did something different for this one. I don't know which one was the truly first episode that came out, but if you really want to get in order, you have to watch Marvel Rising Secret Warriors first, because that would explain a lot. Then go and watch this one and other stuff. But in this one, they put these out as 6 4-minute episodes, like little shorts and everything, that was on, I guess, like the Disney Now app. Right now, thank God it's not like that no more. I think on Disney Plus, I think it's still like that. I think where it's like 6 episodes and they're only 4 minutes each, which is stupid and everything. Just go to YouTube and watch the full thing, all the 20-minute thing. You know what I'm saying? It's so much better if you do it that way. Now, when it comes to Marvel Rising, for some reason they don't put them all in the same like category, and you can just scroll down and pick whatever episode you want to watch. You have to type in individually and look for them, which is really stupid. And so, like, her origin, well, I'll get into that when I get a little bit in this episode. So, she's a fugitive in the first episode. Captain Stacy, which is her father, a police chief, he wants her taken in hard. Why? Because, like, he thinks she killed his daughter's best friend, Kevin. Now, this is where they changed the continuity of her origin and stuff. See, in the comics, that version of Peter Parker never became Spider-Man. Instead, he became the Lizard. And then, he ended up dying and everything. And she's the one who got bit by a spider. And so that's when she became a fugitive in her world, because Captain Stacy thought that, she killed his daughter's best friend, Peter Parker. They had to change that for Kevin. Kevin was an inhuman with ice powers. And so they're chasing after her and everything, and she's trying to like evade them, and she's mad because she keeps telling them like she's not the one who did it and blah blah stuff like that, and they just won't listen. And her web slinging is pretty nice. It's generic and cheap. It's not as good as those older animated series and stuff from like the 90s and stuff like that. And so she's constantly being pursued by like him, and then all of a sudden now the secret warriors are after her. So like she's being pursued by like Quake, and she's voiced by the same one who was in the Agents of Shield show, and Chloe, I think Barnett, I think her name is and stuff. And so she works for Shield, and so does Patriot. Patriot is basically a younger version of like Captain America, but like the Sam Wilson type. He's a young black kid who has Sam Wilson Captain America looking uniform and his own shield that also turns into a glider. And so like, and he's very like by the book type thing and stuff. Like he is looking to like take her in, and so like they're on the hot pursuit of her. They kind of like duke it out a little bit and stuff like that. Basically, this show is like a mix between Teen Titans and Legion of Superheroes. It has that kind of humorous tone and an anime type tone to it, and it's not bad. It's a nice blend, and stuff. And so later on, she crosses the path of Miss Marvel and Squirrel Girl, and those two are like best buds and everything. And if you watch Secret Warriors, that's what the group is called themselves, Secret Warriors and stuff, then you'll know how they became like superheroes and all this other stuff, and how they joined the team and all this other good stuff. So they're like best buds and everything. They're Squirrel Girl is the comedic one. She's like Beast Boy and Cyborg from Teen Titans. Very loud, very obnoxious and everything, but very funny too. And so like her and Kamala, they're just hanging out in their regular civilian clothes. They're eating donuts, and then they see that the others are tracking Ghost Spider, whatever her name is, and so they suit up and everything. And I assume that Squirrel Girl, I know she's a mutant who can talk to squirrels, and she can climb walls, but I thought her tail and her ears were like part of her body, but apparently in this show they're not. She has to like put them on and stuff. And so then they go after her. And so basically a lot of chaos happens. And so she keeps trying to explain, look, man, I'm an innocent, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? And all this other stuff. And so they kind of like, after they almost botched trying to capture her and almost died and everything, they kind of like listening a little bit, but Squirrel Girl really doesn't want to listen. Now, I do like this version of Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, a whole lot better than the live action one, but I still don't like her powers in this and stuff. And so like, at some point in time in the series, we see Quake and she's talking to Spider-Gwen. And so she tells her, I know your secret. I know you're Gwen Stacy, because when you talked to Captain Stacy, it's the way you kept acting towards him that made it seem like this is very personal between y'all. So she knows her identity. And like a fool, she just like, and just takes off her mask. I don't understand superheroes taking off that mask nowadays, man. So she's on her side and wants to help her clear her name, but she has to find, of course, the people who actually did this, because when she was reviewing the tape with Patriot, she's all like, or Captain Stacy, she's all like, something's weird happening here. Before she busts out the window, you see a light on in the background, but then somebody turned the light off. That means somebody was in the room with her. And so he thinks maybe it's an accomplice, maybe it's somebody not. So, but Spider-Gwen, she wants to clear like her name and everything, because she doesn't want to go down like this. But at some point in time, the Secret Warriors, they're at their base camp, and they're exercising, practicing, and they're messing up big time. This is, of course, getting on Patriot's nerves, because he's all like, he was trained by Captain America to be the best of the best, and you guys are just like goofing around and like messing up. So but then somebody is in their like control room going through all this stuff in a secure room. It's Ghost Spider. She's looking up files on like the bad people that like, who really did this and stuff. And so she manages to get out of there before then, but I think she gets caught at some point and stuff. And so after a bunch of talking, They're kind of a little bit more getting on her side, but kind of not. Like some people kind of still aren't. Now, there's a very odd like part in this where it's like Patriot is feeling like, he's really like frustrated and everything, and Squirrel Girl tries to like, ease his tension by taking him out, and they do things like skateboarding and stuff, which is very odd, but very Teen Titans. Like you'll see something like that in Teen Titans. But that's just like so interesting that they did that here. And it's just kind of like, because they are teenagers and everything. And I think that was kind of neat that the cartoon showed that. And it was like a really unique pairing. It almost made me think that they might be like love interests and stuff. But I haven't gotten that far in the series because there aren't that many episodes of this, to tell you the truth. I don't know why they didn't like make a full series out of this. Now, I do like how everybody is kind of like against like Ghost Spider. Oh, by the way, Ghost Spider is voiced by Dove Cameron. And so, yeah, I do like how everybody's like against her. It's kind of like the whole Spider-Man thing, because she has her very own version of like Aunt May in the form of her father. Because, her father doesn't like vigilantes. He does, unless they're working for the government. He doesn't like Ghost Spider. He thinks she's a murderer and stuff. But it's, of course, his own daughter. So that's that whole Peter Aunt May dynamic. And then you have like all the people in town thinking she's a murderer as well and turning their backs against her. Even her own bandmates aren't necessarily getting along because, like I said before, she has the whole weight of the world like on her shoulders and stuff. She has to do like all this spider stuff and all this like civilian stuff. And she's in the band and she can't always make it to her band. And her band are called the Mary Janes. Is the lead singer, of course, is Mary Jane Watson. There's Gloria Grant, Betty Grant. It's insane and stuff. And they're all teenage versions of stuff. And I think Betty Brant, she's all like, I don't like Ghost Spider. She killed Kevin and blah, blah, blah. It's either her or Gloria. I can't remember which one. And so, like, so that's really interesting. Like, I like this whole other world type thing, the whole what if stories. Now, I can dig this, you know what I'm saying? Because after a while, your main continuity stuff starts to get kind of boring after a while. And so that's one reason why she's so refreshing as a character. Plus, her costume is awesome. It's all white. There's some black in there. There's some pink. And she has a hoodie. And what's so cool and interesting is that her costume is beyond anything of any other Spider-Man type outfit. It's more similar to that of like the Scarlet Spider with the hood and, and stuff like that. But there's no spider symbol on her chest. Now there's one on her back in a tealish kind of bluish green kind of color and stuff. And so like, so that's like very interesting and stuff because normally the spider goes on the front and the back and people wants to see the spider as something in a bunch of webs everywhere, but it's not like that. So her costume is very unique and cool. Now, I do like the name Spider-Gwen a whole lot more than Ghost Spider. And I like it better, like in the comics, sometimes they take pictures of her where her mask is off and you see her hair flowing down and stuff like that. So the two people who actually killed Kevin, or at least one of them is Chief. And Exile is an Inhuman and stuff. And so basically they the ones who framed her and she's in hot pursuit of them and everything. And so Exile whole thing is that he wants to break into a facility of Tony Stark's because he can track like other Inhumans, and so he wants to do this because his Inhumans are like hated like mutants are in this universe and stuff, and I guess he wants to do like other bad stuff along with them and stuff like that. So, anyways, once the Secret Warriors feel like okay, maybe she's on the up and up, they like join forces to take down Exile and Chief. So there's a huge battle that happens and Captain Stacy's all like Patriot and like Quake, how can you align yourself with this criminal and everything? So now there's a huge problem. So basically what they do is they create a barrier between themselves and the police. And so Quake tells Patriot, what we're gonna have to do, man, we're gonna have to like take on the police and everything to make sure they don't get hurt and all this other stuff, make sure we don't get hurt. So they fight the police while everybody else is fighting like the two Inhumans and everything. Of course, they take them down. And so Ghost Spider's all like, look, man, they're the ones who did this, not me. And Captain Stacy, he still doesn't want to believe it and stuff like that. and stuff. So she wants so badly to tell him who she is and everything, you know what I'm saying? But she can't do that. And so she's just gonna have to live with the whole thing of like, her father thinks she's a murderer and everything. Now, and then of course she joins the Secret Warriors and everything while she's still doing her band stuff and stuff like that. Now, her weapon is very unique. It's very nice looking. Sometimes it's like a clear white silverish kind of color, and sometimes it is more of like, this tannish brown color. I don't like the tannish brown color. That just looks gross. But, I like the clear looking kind and stuff like that. It looks the same way, similar to Ultimate Spider-Man, but there aren't really that many corals in it and stuff. But it looks a whole lot better than Spectacular Spider-Man webbing. That looked like snot. And stuff. Like it really did. Now there is another member of the Secret Warriors, Inferno. And he's an Inhuman. And also Lockjaw hangs out with them now and then to transport them and stuff. So it's a very unique team and everything. Oh, there's also American Chavez. She's in this, looking very the way she does in the comics, which is great and everything. She has her curves, she has her earrings, her hoops and stuff, and like I'm liking the curves on her. Like it made her look very Latino and everything. 'Cause a lot of Latino women have curves and stuff, but in this version, she can fly and she has super strength. I'm just kind of like, I don't remember her doing that in a live action movie and stuff. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.